Okay, I'll start it. Jody, you already know Thea, but I would love to introduce her if you don't know think or two about her, because I got to know she's a writer as well. She is actually one of the author of IABA Babok 3, especially in the techniques chapter and underlying competencies right here.
Mm-hmm. And the
Yeah,
glossary.
and
Everybody
yeah,
needs
and
a
the
glossary.
glossary. Yeah, everybody need glossary. And she actually recently published the book Business Analysis Bridging the Gap Across Industries. I hope I said the name correctly.
Yes, you did.
And she's actually planning one more book to publish. She is a president of IIBA Tampa Bay chapter as well, and has trained more than 1,000 people. She is also working with us, IIB Ireland chapter, on CBAP study groups. So, all in all, I would say that if anyone knows Thea, they know that she is the most supportive person you can meet. And today she's going to present RACI Matrix, not only at the project level, but she's going to tell us that how to use this matrix, how to use this technique into the meetings. That's really interesting. And it's not only session, it is hands-on. So let's start. Over to you, Thea.
Okay, let me share my screen. Thank you for those kind words. I really appreciate that. Okay, so we're going to talk about bringing accountability, clarity, and peace using the RACI Matrix. And I want you to know that that sounds like a really tall order, but I've been able to do that. I've been a business analyst for almost 30 years. And in that, I've discovered that the original RACI, as we learned it years ago, has some limitations. So I've made some updates, and I want to share those with you because it's been so incredibly beneficial for me. So let me talk about what we're going to talk about. I'm going to go through the basics of communication just to get us all on the same page. We're going to talk a little bit about bad meetings. We're going to talk about RACI the way it was. And then we're going to talk about RACI, the method I use to bring accountability, clarity, and peace. And then touch on other RACI versions that you may see out there. Then we're going to practice. So I need you to come off mute and get ready to participate, because hands-on is where you learn. Then if we have time at the very end, we're going to talk about personalities and appreciation. So let's get started. Let's begin with the basics. The goal of communication, the true goal of communication, is to convey an idea to the receiver so that you and they share the same idea. So there's a sender and a receiver. You are the sender. You create an idea using your interpretation of life, the world, the situation. You encode it using your languages, the way that you learn, the way that you have been taught to communicate, the information that you know. You send the message over to the receiver. They receive it and they decode it using what they know, not what you know, but what they know, the information that they're aware of. And then they go through their interpretation of what you meant. If you stop right there, you failed, because you also need to be sure that you're not having an assumption that I said something and you understand what I mean. You need to ask, can you rephrase it to me so I understand that you really grasp what I'm trying to say? They need to go through an encoding process as well. They give a feedback message and you go through your decoding. Now, this does not mean that you both agree that what you said is true. It means that you both understand what you intended. That's a very critical thing that we very often just go, oh, they understand, we're good. I encourage you to go through the process and realize that just because you say it a certain way doesn't mean they understand it. They understand the concept. Okay, so let me give you an example. This is a recent example situation I had. We were going through a brand new process, ISO security documents that we had to fill out. The lady walking us through it said, once you get here, you could just take out that example, and kept talking. And I thought, okay, this is what we're going to take out. We're going to take out the example, the key points, the bullet points under example. That's what she meant. And I thought, oh, you know what? I'm making an assumption. And I said, wait a minute, I apologize. I'm not familiar with this document. Help me understand what you meant by we could take out the example. And speaking to someone else later, they said, I thought we could take out this entire paragraph. So she actually meant we could take out the word example. Had we taken out what either one of us thought was true, we would have submitted it to ISO for certification, been rejected, gone through an entire process. Asking the question saved us all so much headache, heartache, and time. So I encourage you, ask to confirm that you both have the same understanding. Now, accountability, clarity, and peace. It's a really tall order, and it sounds like I'm promising the sky here, but I'm not. Let's talk about what you have at work. Running a meeting. How many times have people left a meeting that you were involved in, maybe not been responsible for, but you were involved in, and discovered later that people did not have the same understanding of what happened in the meeting? Maybe they thought, I didn't say I was going to do that. I thought you were going to do that. Or when are we getting this done? I mean, they don't come away with clear understanding. So the meeting basically was a waste of time, and it caused more confusion. And sometimes it causes things like this to happen, which we all, of course, want to avoid. So this is what you saw in the original BABOK, in the BABOK 3. Under Roles and Permissions Matrix, it talks very briefly about a RACI. It does not talk about what the format is. It doesn't explain details. Because if we had written everything we wanted to write in the techniques chapter, those 50 techniques would have taken up another 500 pages. You know that. So we didn't get to do that. This is all it gives you in the Roles and Permissions Matrix as an example of something close to a RACI, but this is a yes-no answer. This does not tell you who is responsible for what and how it will be delivered. So you may have seen a RACI before. This is at a project level, and you can see that it's by stages of the project: the research, the define. This is sometimes called discovery. Who is responsible for what? The product owner. It has accountability for the product concept. The business analyst is going to be consulted for the product concept. As you know, RACI is an acronym. It means responsible, accountable, consulted, and informed. So this is at a project level, but it doesn't help you at a meeting level to leave the meeting with the same understanding. So let's talk about what the acronyms mean. Responsible. These are the people who will do the work. These are the boots on the ground people that actually get the work done. Accountable. There can only be one accountable per task, and it is the one person who will be sure the task is completed. I like to say it's the one person whose neck will be choked if the task is not completed properly. Consulted, the C. Consulted is before the event happens or the task is completed. This is a person who wants to have a say in some aspect of the event. And it's best to note on the RACI specifically what they want to be involved in so that you don't have to try to remember. Don't leave anything to chance here. You want to note it so you can bring them in at the right time. Informed is after the event. This person wants to be told when some portion of the event has happened, and it's best to know exactly, specifically what they want to be informed about. Any questions on RACI? Okay.
I have a question here, Thea. For example, if a project, can we say that project manager is accountable for, let's say, scheduling, budgeting, resource allocation, everything?
You can say that at the project level, but in that particular meeting, those things might not even be elements that you discuss.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
very often the project manager may be the one that's accountable, but allow other people in the team to step up and be empowered to be responsible and accountable for things.
Mhm.
Okay.
Got it. Thank
So
you.
let's talk. Oh, you're very welcome. Let's talk about RACI Matrix at a meeting level. This is the template that most of you have seen. If you've gone online and just look for a template, you've got your task, and then you've got your individuals involved in the meeting. You've got their name and their role. I do encourage you to do both the name and the role. The names for people that aren't familiar with the people that may be involved in the project, and the role so that if, say, Parth is reassigned to another project, you know that the QA automated testing person is the one who had agreed to these things. And so whenever you get your next QA automated testing person, you can go to them and say, our last QA automated testing person agreed to do these things. Can you take on that responsibility or not? Because it typically is within that vertical. Okay, so what I want you to see is we're going to do this in a four-step process. you're going to use the RACI Matrix whenever you start with the meeting invite. In the meeting invite, you identify the goal of the meeting and the scope of the meeting, what's in scope and out of scope for that meeting. You document that. If there's any specific decisions or tasks that you need to cover in the meeting, go ahead and put that in your invite. But be sure you put the agenda in the invite. The agenda is very valuable, and people aren't doing that very often these days. And then whenever you open the meeting, first of all, be sure everybody knows how to use a RACI, because if they're not familiar with this technique, it's going to go over their head. You want them to have the tools and understanding to be able to use it. You're going to talk about responsible, accountable, consulted, and informed, and be sure that they understand that. Go over your goal of the meeting, go over your scope of the meeting, and then introduce this document. And if you can display this on the screen during the meeting so that they can see what they are committing to is being documented, they're a lot more engaged, I promise. So I have added a few things. The things in yellow are the ones that I've added. Task and decision. You can document any task or decision this way. For a decision, you simply identify what the decision is and who agreed to it. That way, if you come out of it with 4 decisions, you know exactly who agreed to it according to your documentation, and so does everyone else. For your tasks, you identify your task, you identify the date and time it's due. So it's not just it will be done, when will it be done? And what time? What time will it be done by? What's the deadline? Received. Who is going to receive it and by what method? It doesn't do any good for someone to send me something in my email if I'm looking for it in my Teams folder, or if they send it to me by Slack if I'm looking for it in email, or if they put it on my desk, for goodness sakes, and I'm looking for it in email and I'm across the country. I need to know, and they need to know, what is expected of them. And then if there are any notes for that decision or task, and if there's a successor for that, this allows you to organize your things in a logical order. If there's a successor, you can put it the first thing, and then the successor is immediately underneath that. And then, of course, every individual that's involved in the meeting needs to be listed. If someone enters your meeting that wasn't expected, give them a column. That tells them that they are important, that they're going to be accountable. Explain to the folks in the meeting, this is what we're doing to document the progress that we're making in this meeting, and at the end of the meeting, we're going to review it. And then I'm going to be sending it out to everyone that's involved in the meeting and everyone that's going to be impacted by these decisions or these tasks. That way everyone knows what's happening. What this does, folks, is it creates immediate accountability. You don't have to walk around and say, you said you were going to get this done. It automatically is, everyone knows that I said I'm going to get this done, so I better get it done. The only thing I would encourage you to do is, if something hasn't shown up as you expected, or is, if you think that it might be delayed, contact them like the day before and say, how are you doing on that? I know it's due tomorrow at the end of business. Do you need any assistance? Sometimes all they need is to go, oh yeah, I forgot, I did commit to that, and they get it done. If you have to, you can say, I know that we documented it on the RACI that you committed to getting it done, and I want to help you look the best you can. Is there anything I can do to help you get that done? Because you want them to know you're on their team. You want them to succeed, and remind them very, very gently that everyone knows they committed to getting it done. It is a very, very powerful tool. And then during the meeting, you actually document the items, and we're going to go through a practice of that in just a minute. So I'll show you how to document it. And then after the meeting, at the very end of the meeting, you talk about what you did. We're going to practice that as well. And then you publish it. Okay. So here's a scenario. Let's practice. We are all in the same company, in the same department. An outing has been planned for each of us and our family members. We have 50 people total. We already have the list established. It's going to take place on September 13th. We've got just a few weeks between now and then. We'll meet at the office, and we'll be brought back to the office at the end of the day. The destination is Cowboy Ranch. They will be providing the buildings and the horses and the cowboys, but no food, games, or anything else. Cowboy Ranch has a kitchen, a dining area, an area with couches. Outdoors, there is a stable, a circle drive that's shaded, and water sources. That's all the information that we know. That is out of scope for our meeting because we've already decided that. What we have to do now is decide the rest of it. So we know what the goal is. It's department outing. We know what is scope of the meeting is transportation, games, food, communication. What else do we need to talk about? We're getting together to figure all this out, the transportation, games, food, communication, and what else. We already know that the rest of this stuff has been established. We don't have to go over that again. Oh, goodness, this is in the wrong place. Sorry, guys. Let me ask you your patience for just a minute, and I will get to what I need. It's not in the wrong place. I was doing something totally different here.
Yeah. I have like 100 web pages open right now.
Oh, do you? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is what I wanted to show you. This is what we're going to do, our practice. So let me get rid of this. So we know our goal, we know our scope, and we know what's out of scope. So tell me, who do we have here? And I don't necessarily need your title for your project because our project is we're all going to the outing. So who wants to participate? Come off of mute and give me your names, please. And if you can't talk verbally, you're welcome to do it in the chat. We can do it that way. So who's my first person?
Oh, I'll come off mute. Hello, it's Jody.
Hey, Jody, welcome to the party. I appreciate your bravery. Okay, who else?
I just have to ditch my real job here for a little bit.
Just for a few minutes. This
I
will
know.
take probably 10 minutes. Okay.
Oh, that's good.
Abigail, can you join us? Edie's join us. Good, thank you. I need a few more people, please.
Joy, Sakina, Abigail, any of you?
There's Abigail.
Abigail?
Yeah, I can do Sakina.
Sakina?
Okay. I tell you what, if you'll drop your name in chat, I will be able to see it. I can't see everyone right now.
This is her name.
Oh, thank you very much.
No worries.
Okay, can I get 2 more people? I see some names I recognize.
I think I'm so tempted to put down your name. Shall I?
Sure. Frank, can you join us?
Our network is really bad. We can't hear you.
Yeah, Frank, I'm afraid you're gonna have to go by chat. Okay. Anybody else?
You
Okay.
can put down my name.
Okay. Spell your name so I don't get it wrong.
Alita. Not Nta.
Is that right?
Yeah, perfect.
All right. Oh, okay. Frank, if you can talk by chat, I'm going to put you on here. Okay, so our first thing is we need to identify transportation. Who will be responsible for getting transportation organized and set up for us? I'm thinking we need 2 buses for 50 people.
I
Or
can get a
double
bus for you.
Can you get a bus? Okay.
I can get a bus. It's going to be a
Awesome.
party bus, but it'll be a bus.
Party bus. Okay, we've got 1 person responsible for transportation. Is there anybody else that can participate in transportation? Anybody else interested?
Can help.
Okay, I got 2 people responsible. Anybody else? Okay, of you 2, which one wants to be accountable?
I will. I'll work with,
Thank-
trying to pronounce the name. I'll work with Lolita.
Lalita is wonderful. Okay, so we've got 2 people responsible for transportation. And we know that transportation is going to leave at 9 o'clock and return at 5 o'clock on this date. And we have 50 people. Beyond that, it's up to you. Okay, next thing is games. Who wants to be responsible for games? This means gathering the games, organizing the games, setting up the games, whatever it is with the games.
I'll get some games, Sakina.
Okay.
Set up the
Anybody else
mood.
with games? Dee Dee can do games. Awesome. Now, there's kind of a lot of work to do with games. I think we might need more than 2 people for games for 50 people going all day long. Can we get a couple more?
Then Frank, can we put down you for games as well?
Okay, we can come back to games, getting more people for games. Dee Dee and Sakina, which one of you wants to be accountable for the games?
I can do it, Sakina.
Okay, very good. Okay, and for food, who is going to be responsible for food? This means identifying what we're going to eat, getting it delivered, getting it set out, cleaning up after it. Abigail, can you help with that?
She
Alita,
can.
Frank?
Abigail responded, yes, she can help with the food.
Okay. Okay. That sounds like a pretty big job also. And there's probably going to need to be snacks during the day too. Can we get more than one person helping with the food?
Me down, please.
Okay. I think you said you two, please, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
Jody can help with the food too. I'll need some for the bus.
Great, great. Okay. So we've got 3 people that can help with the food. Which of you wants to be responsible for spearheading this effort?
I can do that.
Okay, perfect. Okay, now with the food, let's talk about food for a second. Some of us have family members that have food allergies. You probably want to be informed and consulted for the food. For instance, somebody has a child that has a nut allergy. They can't be anywhere near nuts. They don't want nuts involved in this. So they want to be consulted before the menu is identified. Can somebody volunteer to be that person?
To send the communications and request information on food allergies, I can do that.
Okay, let's make this specific. Okay.
Thanks.
And Jody, you're going to be accountable for that.
And yeah, yeah, both.
Okay, so let's talk about the food itself though. Let's say, Lalita, let's say you have somebody in your family that has nut allergies. I would like to set you're already accountable and responsible, so it can't be you. Sakina, can it be you?
Sakina, can you be consulted on this one?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, perfect. So that you need to be consulted and informed. And I'm going to put nut allergies. That means that not only are we going to talk to you before we set our menu, but we're going to talk to you after we set our menu so that you can be sure that what you had requested is completed. And I've been very specific to identify that it's nut allergies that you're concerned about. Does anybody else have any nut allergies or any other kind of allergies to food? Okay, very good. Very good. The communications will also take care of asking one more time if there's anybody else with nut allergies or any other kind of allergies. Okay, so let's talk about communication. What other communication needs to go out? Just the announcement, when, where, why, how, things like that. And Jody, since you're doing food allergies, do you also want to do the announcement?
Yeah, I can do logistics.
Okay, very good. All right, and so that takes care of all those things. So let's think, what else do we need? We've got potential of food allergies here. And Sakina, you have somebody in your family that has food allergies. Can you provide your own EpiPen or whatever it is you would use in case there is a food allergy emergency for yourself, or is that something we need to provide?
Sure, I can arrange that for myself and the family.
Okay, perfect. I'm going to put nut allergy EpiPen. EpiPen is what we call it. May not be what y'all call it, but Sakina is going to take care of it for herself. Provided. Okay. So that's taken care of. Are there any other allergy concerns that we have? We're going to be outside. What if somebody has bee sting allergies or something like that? Do we
Is
need
this
to
the
have
corporate function that we need medical or any kind, or
Need
just
first
to
aid at
include
least.
it in the
Yeah, first aid.
communication?
right? Do we want to have an ambulance on standby? I mean, the people are going to be riding horses that they've never ridden before.
And we need a health and safety person with us.
We need health and safety. Okay. Who can get us a health and safety person? Can somebody ask for that? Okay, Dee Dee says she can ask for that.
Yeah.
Okay, and then let's just have an ambulance on standby. That way, if somebody falls down and breaks their arm, you know, one of the kids has a choking incident, somebody falls off a horse and gets a concussion, we've got somebody right there for liability reasons at a corporate event. It's not a bad idea. So let's have that.
You can tell we live in the US.
We live in the US, but I bet you it happens other places too. Okay, so who can arrange the ambulance?
Can do that.
Okay, very good. And that's a one-person job, so I'm giving you A and R instead of, you know, this is not something we need a committee for. It's a one-person job. Okay, so do we feel like we have all of our tasks that identified? Is there anything we've missed? And as we go through it one more time, we're going to find something, but that's okay. Anything initial that we think we need to add?
We will need a role check as well. What if someone is not coming from 50 people? We need to be accountable that whosoever is coming with us are going with us.
Okay, so we need a roll check on leaving and returning.
Boarding and returning both.
Okay, boarding and returning. Okay, and who can do that? Abigail, can you do that for us?
She can.
Yes. Okay, so I'm gonna put you there as accountable and responsible because that's a one-person job. Anything else we need to add? Okay, let's go through this. When do we need to have transportation scheduled by? When can transportation tell communications where we're going to meet, what we're going to be writing, etc.? The event is on 9/13, which is a Friday. Jody, I've got you as accountable responsible. Do you think you can get this to us by, the 11th?
Yeah, sorry, I was on mute again. This little
It's
Zoom
okay.
on my phone is a challenge.
I apologize.
Yeah, by 9/1, I think would be great. That's 2 weeks in advance. It allows communications.
Okay, and I'm going to put end of day.
Okay.
Okay, and you are also responsible for communications.
Mhm.
So I'm going to put in here communications too. Because as you get this information, I'm sorry, I put that in the wrong place. I want it to be it's coming to you again
Mhm.
for communication. And you're going to receive it. You're going to share it with whoever else needs to know what the schedule is by email. Is there anybody else who needs to know what the transportation schedule is? And, how about somebody in HR or somebody in pay that has to pay for it?
Finance department.
Okay, finance department. Hey, Frank, I'm going to put you in the finance department, okay? And you are going to be informed after the fact. So after it's scheduled, that the notice of invoice to be received will be sent to Frank. So Jody, you get communication by email, and you're going to send Frank. Sorry, let's do that again.
Need department head as well, confirm the budget and everything.
Okay. Who in here is department heads? Lalita, I think you should be a department head. But
I was
you're also
saying it should be
responsible.
you.
You think it should be me? Okay, let me put me in here. And, well, let's move that up. And I'm going to be informed as a department head.
And consultant?
I think I should be informed because that's after the decision is made. Do you think I need to be consulted before the decision is made?
Because what if we are like hiring very lavish bus and it is out of budget?
I think
Jody, we can do that, right?
Yeah,
I can do
well,
that. I have a budget. She told me what my budget was.
she's got a budget. She's got a budget. So department head, I'm going to get informed after the fact so that I can tell people we're going to use this specific bus line or something like that. Hey, it occurs to me as we go through this, Jody and Lalita, I know you're responsible for scheduling transportation, and we talked about having a party bus. I've got 2 people that have some mobility issues, and they might have challenges getting on a party bus. So I'm going to ask that I'm going to also be consulted because I want to be sure that their ability to get on the bus is considered when you choose which kind of bus there is. Okay.
Yeah.
Why? There we go. Okay, so now we know we have everything on this. After you get the transportation, we don't have any really next notes or successors on that. We know who is going to receive the information as to what has happened, and we know when it's going to be received. So I think we're good there. Does anyone else need to be involved in transportation? To be consulted or informed? Or
Yeah, it's all good.
okay, that one's good. Okay, let's talk about games. Sakina, you are responsible and accountable, and Dee Dee, you are going to be responsible. Do we need anybody else? Is that enough people? Are y'all happy with 2 people working on games for the day?
Yeah, I think we can pull this off.
Okay, and when do you want to have your games identified, gathered, and ready to get to the location? Do you want to have it identified and gathered by 9/1 as well?
Yeah, I think that's a good enough time.
Okay, and how are you going to get it to the location? You want to put your stuff on the bus?
Yes, please.
Okay.
That would be nice.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to split this into organize and gather. And then we're going to make another row here. And IZE. I do not know why I'm skipping letters, guys. I apologize. Okay, so games organize and gather, and then games deliver, transport. So when are you going to deliver the games to transport? We have to ask if transportation is going to be scheduled by 9/1. We're not leaving until 9/13. Transportation are the buses going to be here the morning of the 13th or the afternoon of the 12th?
The buses will be there in the morning.
Okay.
Yeah, in the morning.
Okay.
Otherwise,
And-
we'd have to pay for them overnight.
Right. And they're going to leave at 9 o'clock. That means what time do you need the games to be delivered to the buses that morning for them to be able to be loaded?
Based on previous history, the buses will be there at 8:30.
Okay, that means the games have to be there prepared at like 8 o'clock so that they're ready to be moved in as soon as the buses arrive. Does that work for
Right.
you, Sakina?
Yeah, sure. We'll make sure that the games are there by around 8 so that we have everything prepared for when the bus
Okay.
comes.
Okay, and let's just say the buses are going to be in the corporate drive, so that's where the games are going to be delivered.
Okay.
Okay, and whenever you get the games organized and gathered, who needs? I think that probably needs to go to communications, doesn't it? So that communication can say, "Hey, we're going to have this event. This is what we're going to have for you to be able to do." So, Sakina, when can you get that information to communications for their publications? They want to. Well, let's back up. The announcement. When is the communications announcement going to be put out, Jody?
Based on it being 13th, I'm guessing it would have been put out already.
Well, okay, it hasn't been put out already. It's going to, we're just now planning it right now. So between now and the 13th, we've got to let everybody know. We want to get it out before the event so that they can plan. They probably heard whispers of it already, but when are you going to put out the official, this is what we're doing, here's the schedule?
It would have to be after 9/1 because that's when I'm sending the busing information.
Right? So you want to make it 9/2?
If games are ready by 9/1,
Uh-huh.
it would depend on when food is ready.
Okay. Well, let's plan that the food, let's see, Lalita, when can the food be identified? Can it be scheduled and everything by 9/1 as well?
Can.
Okay, so food is going to be ready by 9/1 as well. And that information's got to go to Jody. And can I say that it's going to go to Jody's email address? Lalita, can you send that to Jody's email address?
Yes, I can.
Okay,
And
and
then once I have all of that on 9/2, I can send out the communication and include the menu and the logistics for the bus and any information related to games.
perfect. And let's put that in here, food, transport, and games. My font is obviously enthusiastic here. Okay, so for transportation is done, games, we know it's going to be corporate drive by 8:30 on 9/13. Communication is going to be emailed to Jody by end of day on 9/1. Are there any successors to this? I don't think that there's anything else we need to do. Let's put deliver to transport. I'm going to put that Sakina and Dee Dee are going to load the games and be responsible for moving the games, okay?
Right.
Because otherwise, if we don't make it clear, somebody's going to think, I'm delivering them, I'm done. And then the transport people are going to go, are we supposed to load it? So this way we know exactly who's supposed to do what. Is there anybody that wants to be consulted or informed on the games at all? You know, I have a game that I remember from my childhood. I hope that y'all can include it, or I want to be sure that you don't have any lawn darts or something like that that has been known to hurt children. Does anybody care about that? Okay, then no consulted or informed there. Games delivered to transport, we got that done. Got another E there.
Be consulted with health and safety as well, because there might be some games which are not allowed as per safety guidelines.
Oh, very good. Now, who should be consulted?
Health and safety person.
Health and safety person. So
We already have one here, row number 13.
we do, but we need to know who that is. Let's do health and safety. We're gonna have to do another row here. Let's just do it this way.
Okay.
Games, health and safety. No, I don't like doing it that way. That's not the best way to do it. Health and safety, we're going to make, hey, Abigail, I'm going to make you health and safety person. Because as your role here, that way you can easily be consulted and informed on the games. Does that work?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so for games, we know that Abigail needs to be consulted as health and safety for her role. So here we don't have to put health and safety because we know Abigail is the health and safety person. So Sakina and Dee Dee, you need to run the games by Abigail before you make your choice. And then after you make the choices, the final list needs to go to her to confirm. Okay, let's see. For food, we've got Jody is going to be receiving email communication of the food from Lalita because she is accountable. That's the one person that's going to be the point of contact. Are there any notes for this? How's the food going to get to the destination, Lalita? Do you want to put it on the bus as well?
No, it will be delivered by a catering person, whosoever we are asking to deliver.
Perfect. Delivered by the caterer. We don't have to worry about transportation. So we know here and we put it on here so that everyone knows it's delivered. We don't have to worry about making room for it on the bus. Okay, communication of food allergies. You're going to be receiving the information about the food by 9/1. You want to put that in your communication announcement, Jody, on 9/2?
I can do that.
Okay, I'm going to put that right up there. And it's going to be received by, I'm going to put a distribution list for the department, and it's going to be received by email by end of the day 9/2. Jody, how are people going to respond to that if they need to? Will they respond to it by email?
They can reply back to me.
There we go. Reply by email so we know how that's going to happen. I'm going to put, reply by email. We need to put a time limit in there, don't we? Within 24 hours.
We would need a timeline when I send the communications out because it's a pretty quick turnaround.
Yeah, we can't wait for somebody to say, oh, I meant to tell you, that kind of stuff. Okay, so we've got that done and everyone is going to receive that on the distribution list. The communication announcement of the event is also going to go out to everyone on the distribution list. It's going to include food, transport, games, and this includes allergies. I'm going to put that in brackets. Incidentally, I'll be sending all this over to Lalita so she can share this with you. I also have a handout so that you can actually walk through this if you need to afterwards. Let's see, nut allergies, EpiPen, we already have that covered. There's no need to worry about this. Sakina, do you want us to check with you to be sure you have it that morning, or is this just totally your responsibility?
Yeah, I'll be responsible for bringing it.
Okay, then there's
Just putting
no,
it aside right now, in fact. Yeah.
okay, no further action needed. Okay, for the medical person, that has to, the health and safety person, we have Abigail as the medical person, and Dee Dee is going to coordinate with Abigail. Abigail, you're going to be consulted and informed in this situation. Does anyone else need to be involved in this? Have a health and safety person review the actions? Okay, so Dee Dee, you're going to need to get this information to Abigail with all of the information on as soon as possible, I would think. And I would think you also need to be receiving all this information, the food, the games. So should I put you as here with Jody? That Abigail and Jody both need to be receiving this? I'm sorry, Dee Dee and Abigail need to both be receiving this? Or is it just Dee Dee?
I think Dee Dee and Jody both, because Jody would need the information to pass on.
Okay, I like that. So Dee Dee and Jody are both going to receive the information about the games, the information about the food, the information about the transport. Is there anything else that we need to provide for health and safety? Okay. And so all of this is going to be coming from the various individuals listed above, but I want to identify here. It's going to be 9-1. All of these are 9-1 by the end of the day. And these are going to be received from. So I'm going to put transport. It's going to be received from Jody. Games are going to be received from Sakina. And food is going to be received from Lalita. Let's get that on the right place. And is that all going to be by email, folks? To Dee Dee?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, so we know who's going to receive it. We know the method that they're going to receive it and who they're going to receive it from, since it's several different people. Okay, anything else on medical, health, and safety? Let's go to medical ambulance. Lita, you're going to schedule it. When can will we have that information by 9-1 as well?
Yeah.
Okay. And let's talk about ambulance for a second. Ambulance means you've got 2 or 3 people that are sitting there in the ambulance or beside the ambulance waiting to help. That means that they're going to need food during the day. Can we put in here that they'll be delivered a snack and a meal, given time to go to the bathroom a couple of times a day by somebody?
Yeah, I can take care of that.
Okay. And you're
Okay,
already
food list, I'll
responsible.
include the medical ambulance persons as well into the food list.
Okay, and I'd also like to identify where they're going to be. We know that the Cowboy Ranch has a circle drive that's shaded. Can we put them there so they're easy for people to see if they need help?
That's a good place.
And Cowboy Ranch isn't very big. If it were huge, I would say we probably need to have walkie-talkies so that we can coordinate things like this. But because it's not very big, I'm not going to worry about that here. Is that okay with everyone? Okay. And then the roll check, boarding and returning, Abigail, you're going to be responsible for that. There's not really any action for you to do, except you need a list of the people that are going to be attending, correct?
I think
Jody, with your communication, do you have that list already?
The list of everybody who's going to be attending, yes, it's on the distribution list.
Exactly. Okay, so can I ask Jody that you can provide that to Abigail before?
So she knows who's going to be there and who's not, yes.
Yes, yes. Okay, so let me put here, whenever you send that out with the communication, you can send that to Abigail at the same time, right?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, perfect. So list of attendees from Jody. And that's going to be by email. AIL. And Jody is going to be, I'm going to put it in consulted because it has to happen before the event. So Jody, you're going to be providing this information. I'm not going to do it that way. I'm going to do it this way. Jody, you're going to be providing this.
Yep.
And then Abigail, you're going to have the list available to you at that time. Okay, have we got everything covered of the events that need to happen, and we know exactly who is going to do what, when they're going to get it accomplished, how it's going to be delivered? We've got all the successors. Do we have pretty much everything done here? Okay, let me.
so, Thea, we have a question here.
Yes.
Says, given we have people with mobility challenge, shouldn't the department head be consulted if we need to include them in
Maybe.
games or not?
Maybe you're using department head in a way that I'm not familiar with it. What would the role of the department head be responsible for in this case?
I'm not sure. This is the question. I think Didi asked this question in chat.
Okay. Dee, can you come off a break and talk about that? Oh, to oversee? Well, okay, let's talk about it that way. With games, getting the games executed, let me put in here that I'm going to be responsible. Now, as a department head, I'll be responsible for overseeing the games. Does that work? Okay, I think that's a yes. All right, so let's talk about it this way. We have our list. We know exactly who's going to be doing what, when, where, and why. I want to look at it this way now. Jody, you are a helper. I can tell this because you are volunteering for many.
I quit hearing you.
Yeah, we
You're
lost.
responsible for transportation. You're
Okay.
involved in food. You're accountable for communications. Is all that doable?
It is.
Okay, very good. Dee Dee, you have two things. You're responsible with games and you're accountable with being health and safety. Are you good with that? Okay.
Should Didi
Abigail,
be informed of the ambulance if he's in health and safety?
I think that's a very good point. Let's see, ambulance informed right there. Very good point. Thank you. Abigail, you are currently consulted and informed on the games. You are let's see, consulted and informed because you're health and safety. You are responsible for food. You're consulted and informed in the medical for what's going to, so that you can see everything overall. And you are accountable and responsible for roll check, boarding, and returning. Are you good with handling all of those things? Okay, perfect. She says, yep. Sakina, you are accountable and responsible for games, organizing, gathering, and getting them executed. You want to be talked to regarding food, consulted and informed because of nut allergies. You're going to self-provide the EpiPen that you might need or someone in your family might need. Are you good with that?
Yes, definitely I'll do that. I just have one question.
Sure.
By when can I be informed about the food communication for nut allergies? Like I see the food communication is going out on like 9/1, and the communication to everyone is going out on 2/9, right? So
On
will I
9/2.
be, yeah.
So as soon as before they make their menu, they have to consult you and say, what exactly do we need to avoid? And then when they make their menu, they're going to provide that information to you before they are able to say it's finalized.
Okay, that sounds good. Yeah,
Okay.
I just had
And
another
then
thought in my mind. Okay, that's fine.
typically they will be consulting and informing you before they send it out onto communication, because you are a step in that process
Right,
before you say it's done.
right.
Okay, Lalita, you are responsible for transportation, helping Jody. You are accountable and responsible for food. You're going to get the caterer arranged. And you're accountable and responsible for the ambulance. You're going to take care of giving them a break and telling them where to park, taking them food in the circle drive. Are you good with that?
Perfectly fine with that.
Okay, very good. Thea, as department head, I'm going to be consulted and informed regarding mobility issues for transportation. I'm going to be responsible for monitoring the execution of the games for the people with mobility issues. So I accept that role. And Frank, you are going to be informed of transportation. Oh, you know what? We need that for food as well. We got to pay for the food, right?
Yep.
So Frank, you're going to be responsible for get a notification that transportation was scheduled and who it was and how much it's going to be, and food was scheduled and who it is and how much it's going to be. So when you receive those invoices, you know what's going on. Okay, Frank, are you good with that? All right, perfect. So everyone knows exactly what they're responsible for. They know exactly who else is responsible with them. If it's, I'm responsible, but you're accountable. That doesn't mean that the accountable person does all the work. It means you meet with that person and whoever else is responsible, and you have a mini meeting of, okay, what do we need to do? Who's going to do what? And let's get it executed. The accountable person is the person who watches over everything and being able to say, we've got to do the consulting, we've got to do the informing, and then here's the announcement, we got it done. It's really good in those announcements to say, this was our job, this is what we did, this is what you need to know for moving forward, and these are the people that were involved. So give them the credit. Okay, now at the end of the meeting, I've gone through this and I've gone through each person's responsibilities, and we've checked on it to be sure we have everything both vertically and horizontally done. Now I'm going to say, thank you for participating in this. Your efforts and your input have made this possible. Now I'm going to be emailing this to all of you and the other people that are going to be impacted by these choices and these decisions. And then we'll be following up to be sure that the things are accomplished on time. You know the date and time that things are supposed to be accomplished. You know how you're going to be delivering it and to whom. If you do that, nobody has to come and ask you what's going on. Does anyone have any questions? And then we adjourn the meeting. So what this does is it creates that accountability. There was an American president that says, speak softly, but carry a big stick. Guys, this is your big stick. You don't have to, beg people to do the things that they need to do. They've already committed to it. And everyone knows that they've committed to it, and they know everyone knows that they've committed to it. Okay, Lalita, how much more time do we have?
We
Are we
are actually 1 minute over time, but we can stay for five more minutes. No worries. I'm enjoying the session. Actually, you know what? I'm feeling like I'm organizing an event for my company.
Well, I've seen people take this directly back to their company and start using it in meetings, and it makes it so much better. I've heard from so many people that say our meetings got so much clearer because not only people knew that what they were saying was being recorded, but they knew that they were making a commitment that everyone else would know their commitments. So they focused, they paid attention to the meeting a lot more closely. Whenever they left the meeting, everyone knew what exactly had been talked about. Now, let's bring one more thing in here. If decisions have to be made, you literally write the decision. Let's say decision, and I do it like this. Decision is no alcohol. Can't spell. Anyway, that's how I'm spelling it. OHOL. No, that's not right either. Whatever. Anyway, no alcohol.
LC. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
It's okay. Okay, no alcohol will be involved in this. And Jody had to leave, so I'm going to say she agrees. Dee Dee, do you agree no alcohol? I tell you what, if y'all agree, throw it in the chat.
Frank says impossible.
I don't know why he said that.
Sakina agreed.
Sakina
I agree.
Okay. Frank agrees. I agree. I'm putting it in there for myself. Abigail and Dee Dee? Okay. Abigail agrees. And I'm going to put not present. Okay, so as we
actually posted a question, how often should we do our check-in?
Your check-in, hopefully, it's not needed. If people understand the seriousness of this, they won't need a check-in. But what I encourage you to do is go in here and say, put all of your 9-1 stuff together, then put the 9-2 stuff after that. And so for like 4 days before 9-1, go and say, for you people that have 9-1 deadlines, how are you doing? Do you need any assistance? You know, sometimes life happens and they don't get everything done and they might need somebody else to take over. For instance, transportation, if Jody had a family emergency, she's accountable and responsible, but she can't work on it right now. So we're going to go to Lalita and say, Lalita, Jody can't be responsible and accountable anymore. Can you take over that? And, you know, just move it up to the next person. So I always try to give people about 3 or 4 days to check to be sure that they're going to get their stuff done before the deadline. Okay, so I have on here, we've got a decision. We know exactly who agreed to that. We know who wasn't present for that agreement. So you can do the same thing on this. Okay, can I keep you for just 2 more minutes? I want to show you something that I think is very important.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me move this over to the screen. The Myers-Briggs Personality Type Indicator. You might not have ever heard of this, or this might be old news for you, but I want to just call your attention to one thing. I don't care which tool you use to help understand your teammates and the people that you work with. I don't care if it's Myers-Briggs. I don't care if it's something else. However, if you understand Myers-Briggs and you know the difference between judgers and perceivers, the way you speak to a judger and the way you speak to a perceiver are totally different. The judger, they love to follow the rules. They will meet your deadline. They will let you know if they're going to be close to your deadline. They will text you and say, it's going to be there in time. I've got 30 minutes. I'm finishing up some very last things. They are very reliable and very dependable, and I love working with judgers. However, not everybody's a judger. Some people are closer to perceivers. Perceivers like to keep their options open. They like to be spontaneous. They like to be flexible with making plans. I have told a perceiver, I need this by end of day on Friday, and didn't receive it until Monday at noon because they literally told a coworker, oh, she's not going to work out on it over the weekend. So when you talk to perceivers, you have to talk to them a little bit differently. I need it by the end of the day on Friday. I need it by 5 o'clock because at 6 o'clock, I'm going to start a session where I'm going to be reviewing all of these, and I need your information in my inbox. I need it in my email. You got to give them the exact reason that they need to achieve that deadline, and you need to give them the motivation that their information is critical to you being able to move forward and make progress and succeed. So I just want to call that to your attention. The way you speak to people depends on their personality, because they hear you differently. You can say the same thing to different types of people. They're going to hear you differently. So being aware of their personality is very, very critical. Okay, that's the only thing I wanted to say about this. I hope y'all enjoyed this. I hope that this is beneficial for you. I will send the handout and the PowerPoint out so that y'all can see it. If you have any questions, please reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'm very happy to be of assistance.
Thank you so much, Thea. It was really, really wonderful to see that we can use RACI Matrix actually into the meetings, and it actually takes the burden away that, okay, someone said that they will do it, but they are not doing it. So it's like, okay, you have committed in front of everyone, so you have to do it.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not just the poor people that were in the meeting that know that you committed. It's everybody who's impacted by these decisions and these tasks know that you committed.
Yeah, absolutely. And for everyone, I am posting Thea's LinkedIn profile here if you want to reach out to her, and you can reach out to me with as Lalita Lalwani on LinkedIn if you need any help.
Right.
Thank you so much, Thea. And we have recorded this session. The recording will be available on IAB Ireland chapter YouTube page very soon.
Very good. I will see y'all at the next study session.
Yeah.
Bye.
Next study session is next week.
Oh, but y'all have a social coming up, don't you?
We do on Saturday. Yes, everyone who is in Ireland, we have our social coming up in Dublin on Saturday. Check out our page.
I hope y'all have a wonderful time.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Bye,
Thank you
guys.
guys. Bye.